Hello and welcome to Murder Dictionary Podcast. My name is Brianna and that is Courtney.
Hello.
So before we get started on our story tonight, we're going to remind you of a few things that are in our description and show notes every week. If you want to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, we've got links.
Hi, it's Jamie, Progressive's Employee of the Month, 2 months in a row. Leave a message at the... Hi, Jamie. It's me, Jamie. I just had a new idea for our song about the Name Your Price tool. So when it's like, tell us what you want to pay, hey, 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 and the trombone goes, blah, 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 and you say, we'll help you find coverage options to fit your budget. Then we just all do finger snaps while a choir goes, savings coming at ya, savings coming at ya. Yes? No? Maybe? Anyway, see your practice tonight. I got new lyrics for the rap break.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
In the show notes. We've also got links to some of the articles and things that we've used for research. So if you want to look into the story a little bit more, then definitely check those out. And the last thing we have is some links to our Patreon and our Threadless. So if you want to get some larger merch items like t-shirts and phone cases and mugs and stuff like that, check out our Threadless in the show notes. And if you wanted to get access to bonus episodes and small items like stickers and magnets and stuff like that, then check out our Patreon. We've got a few new people to thank for Patreon this week. So we wanted to say thank you to Molly, Shanice, Carrie, and Courtney.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys. So we really appreciate your support on Patreon, and just a reminder that we've got a couple pretty recent episodes on Patreon, so check those out. And I think lastly, we could get started, but I did also want to point out that a bunch of people have been tagging us in things on Instagram and Facebook, and I just wanted to say thank you because everybody's been reposting our episodes and shouting us out, and I've been trying to keep up with that and repost when people tag us. So thank you.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, it means a lot when people get the word out there and tell your friends and recommend us. So I just wanted to say thanks.
People like what we're doing.
Yeah, I appreciate you. So we can get started on our story. We are still on letter F for Facebook killers. Before we get into the case, I actually have some more information about some studies of Facebook killers. You know me, I just want to look at all the stats and all the weird studies and stuff, right?
There's so many.
It's kind of my shit. I really like looking at these kind of surveys and stuff.
They're fun, but there's just so much weirdness too associated with social media.
Yeah, and I'm just curious, like what are the numbers to back that up?
Yeah.
You know? So it turns out 81% of internet-initiated crime involves social networking sites, mainly Facebook and Twitter.
Surprised that it's not Tinder, Grindr,
Right.
eHarmony.
I know.
Facebook and Twitter.
Because we're taught to be so scared of dating sites, but
I
that's
guess.
not necessarily where this is most scary, you know?
Facebook and Twitter are deadly.
Seriously.
That's what I'm learning.
That's what I learned from this study. See, I told you, it's interesting.
Knowledge is power.
Right? Social media gives criminals an infinite database to pick their victims from. And also, it allows criminals to focus on grooming many victims at one time. So they have such a larger pool to choose from, and they can hone in on what they're looking for, and also try and work with more than one person.
And they can stalk you without leaving their home.
Exactly. It makes things very easy for them. The benefit this has for criminals is that they can find prey that fits their exact type while easily catfishing many people at once, all within the comfort of their own home. I found multiple articles that refer to this tactic of working many potential victims online as window shopping. I felt like that was kind of callous, but at the same time, it seemed very accurate, right?
Nobody likes window shop, though, you know?
Yeah, but unless you're a predator and you're like, I'm going to find the exact right person, it seems to make sense, but it's sad.
Yeah.
But it seems like a very fitting title.
It is a very fitting title. It's kind of a bummer.
Oh, totally. Kind of.
It's not the most positive.
Elizabeth Yardley, the director of Birmingham City University's Center for Applied Criminology, points out that it's important not to blame Facebook. She says, quote, blaming Facebook for these crimes is like blaming knives for stabbings. This is the same kind of stance that people have on guns.
Yeah.
People shoot people, not guns, you know? I get it. So she's trying to say that it's a separate thing. These people that commit violent crimes are going to commit violent crimes. This is kind of another thing in their toolbox.
That's
right?
exactly it. It's just a tool in the box.
Elizabeth Yardley and her colleague David Wilson published the first ever study of Facebook murders in the Howard Journal of Criminal Justice. The study analyzed 48 recent murders that involved Facebook and concluded that although Facebook is a tool for murderers nowadays, social media does not cause or enable criminal activity. The study also found that murders that involve Facebook are otherwise very similar to murders without the social media component. So this means that basically, demographically speaking, murders with or without Facebook have essentially the same statistics. Like most perpetrators are male, the killer usually knows their victims, they're usually romantic partners, and also most murders take place inside homes. So all these things, they have that in common, whether Facebook was involved or not.
Facebook, it's exacerbating what's already there.
Yes.
You're already going to be looking into someone. This makes it easier. It's a tool in the toolbox. I love that. That's all I'm going to say all day.
Of the 48 killers in the Howard Journal of Criminal Justice study, only 12.5% were, quote, predators who adopted a fake name to lure in victims. The Facebook murder case that we're discussing on this episode is part of that 12%. It definitely uses a fake profile to lure someone in.
It's like another level to me of making all these fake profiles and going to those lengths. How do you keep this all on track? How do you, this is already, it's because it's hard to create an alias in real life. But on Facebook and stuff, you can be anybody. You just have to have emails.
Right.
But that's so much work. So much work. And I imagine everyone else is like me thinking that's too hard to do. That's why it's only 12%.
Right. It just seems like I don't even want to go through the trouble. Especially,
oh, no, not at all.
Many of these people that are using fake profiles, you see it all the time that they have to create other fake profiles to kind of validate the existence of this other person.
You can't have
so
no
they're
friends.
Like, here's the other friend. Here's this guy saying this thing. Here's more people commenting to kind of give weight to this person being real, though they're not, because you have to make it seem like they interact with other people.
You're going to hate me for this one.
Uh-oh.
But it's exactly what happened on Sister Wives to Mary when she got catfished. This chick had like all these fake people, talk to this person because the one begets the other, giving them validation, right? That, oh, this person's real. You see this with these cases. Not that there's a ton of them, but if you're going that far, yeah, you're making a community. And that's what is absolutely being leaned on every time.
Yeah, it may only be 12.5% of these crimes involve catfishing. However, those people that are catfishing are putting in work.
They are so professional in the way that they do this. The catfishing stuff is so complex, crazy to me.
And you know
levels.
How bad my memory is. Like, I would think you would need to have some sort of spreadsheet to keep things straight, some sort of notes, some sort of diary to be like, okay, this is this person's character. This friend said this thing. Otherwise, I would forget.
Mead's spiral notebook.
I mean, seriously.
I mean, there's no way I could remember all that. I think this every time I read one of these. And I think that's where I immediately just got and didn't know what I was saying earlier, because I just can't even comprehend going through all this trouble just to fuck with someone.
Yeah.
Which we can do easily face to face, or, we don't necessarily need to have aliases.
Like, I could fuck with someone just being very lazy about it. It's so much easier than these catfishers are making it seem, right?
So ridiculous to me.
I'm with you. I'm totally with you on that.
So much trouble.
Yeah. But the person we're talking about today had no problem doing that. They were all about the catfishing. So Manuel Edmundo Guzman Jr., aka Tito, was born in Los Angeles and moved to San Jacinto, California with his mother when he was still in elementary school. And San Jacinto is about 85 miles east of LA, less than 5 miles from Scientology's Gold Base.
Only reason to go out there is golf courses. San Jacinto is Gold Base. That's it. There's a couple, I said golf courses. Okay. Again, you're on your way to Palm Springs.
Did you mention golf courses already? Because there's a lot of golf courses.
That's it. And they
It's
own
empty.
a lot of them now. But it's just desert, Gold Base, and
Golf.
lots of gangs. And you're on your way to Palm Springs is the only reason. Or you're going apple picking in Oak Glen around the time of Halloween. That's the only reason to be out there.
Yeah, it's a pass-through kind of town.
Definitely pass through.
Yeah. By about 12, Manuel was already drinking, using drugs, and generally making very self-destructive choices.
Nothing to do out there.
He was one of those bad kids that would have been on Jenny Jones or something, it seems like.
Probably.
You know?
Ricky Lake.
Yeah. In his teens, he began stealing to fuel his habit, and he would sometimes sleep in abandoned houses.
There's a lot of them out there.
So I think that it was more than just this kind of rebellion. It seems like even though he started at 12, it was pretty serious pretty quickly. It seems like.
I agree.
I would say he was probably developing full-on addiction.
Yeah,
in
I
his
think
teens.
it started as, like good, clean fun, kid stuff, right?
Right.
Breaking windows when you're bored. You know what else is there's a lot of fields out there.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of hanging out in these random areas, just land of the dirt people. I swear it's just, there's nothing to do out there but just get drunk and have sex and do drugs.
I think that happens a lot in very small towns
I
where
agree.
there's not much to do. I mean, of course you're going to start drinking and whatever, just causing mischief because it's just an activity, But I think for some people, they grow out of that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I think it seems like to me, Manuel was not the person that grew out of that. For him, it was an addiction.
Yeah. He was just, I think, his dad didn't move up with them until later, and he was kind of lonely, and, he had issues with friends, and it was a lifestyle choice for him.
Probably just masking a lot of pain from family turmoil and
That's
stuff.
what it seemed like.
Then coming from LA where he's got a lot of friends already, probably has family, a lot to do. Now he's in the middle of the nowhere, just bored and alone.
And, he'd rather just sleep in an abandoned house all fucked up than go home.
I know.
Right?
That's heartbreaking.
It is sad.
I can't imagine being a teenager just sleeping in an abandoned house,
They're all over out there.
And the kind of desperation it would take to just rather sleep in the middle of nowhere alone than at your own home, that's pretty sad.
Exactly.
Manuel decided to join Facebook, quote, for jokes. And even though he pretended to not care about social media, it really wasn't long before he began using it constantly. I think we all know this kind of person, right? They
Yeah.
pretend to not care about Facebook, but they're always on it.
But, I don't care. I don't care what she says.
It's for
I don't care.
jokes.
I don't care. It doesn't even bother me. It's just for jokes. It doesn't matter.
I think that if you have to defend it that it's for jokes, you probably are a little bit more invested than you're letting on.
Absolutely.
He found a way to turn his Facebook into a scam when he began contacting people to request for a meetup and then robbing them to get money for drugs. So this became his new little hustle.
This is so short-sighted. This is such a kid thing.
Yes, it really is telling about his age
Yeah.
and just whatever I need to get my money and buy some drugs right now. I don't
Instant
really care about the
gratification.
long. Yeah. He had a criminal record that stretched back to his teens, including threats, robbery, felony evading, and a DUI hit and run. 23-year-old Eddie Leal was born and raised in San Jacinto. Eddie was living his dream as a professional bantamweight boxer who was fighting for Team Leal. Eddie's dad, Ralph, had been a gang member, and he decided to turn his life around when Eddie was really young. In addition to turning his life around, Ralph decided he wanted to also help other people. So he converted their family garage into basically a boxing gym that was just open to any of the neighborhood and local kids. And his goal was that they would have a place to go so that they could just stay off the streets and avoid becoming part of a gang.
There's a real gang community in San Jacinto. There's just nothing to do. So what do? You just hang out with your friends and gangs develop, and also a lot of the people out there are part of the gang injunctions from the 90s. Like you had to leave Los Angeles County. So you end up in Riverside County because of the laws changing. So a lot of people out there grew up in gang culture. There's nothing to do. Ralph saw that, there's nothing to do out here. These kids are up to no good. And all these kids he's trying to help, a lot of the neighborhood was fine with this. We love it. We love this idea of Ralph helping out the community because he had been in trouble before, came out of it. Now he can help.
Right. Like who better to help these kids that are going down a certain path or that they're at a crossroads of choosing one path or the other than he would know what that feels like. So go start boxing with him and you'll be able to make your choice. Go clean or not.
And if nothing else, you have somewhere to hang out after school.
Yeah.
Where there's other people around that aren't going to be like, hey, you want to try some crack?
There's a lot to be said for keeping busy, idle hands.
It's
so
true.
He really was just trying to keep them occupied.
Yeah.
So Ralph was a mentor to a lot of local teens because he was this positive influence in a town where gangs were really trying to recruit other kids. Ralph trained his son Eddie to be a boxer, and the two of them were extremely close. And Manuel was one of the kids that Eddie had done some training with, mostly to try and keep Manuel out of trouble because, of course, he was already on probation for his juvenile convictions the previous year.
Ralph saw something. He picked it up. He saw Manuel. He saw a troubled kid and was trying to get him to come into the garage and train and have something to do. And it wasn't sticking with this kid.
Yeah.
It's a bummer too, because, he really could have used a mentor like Ralph if, maybe if it had been a little different, whatever, this day the wind blew this way, he'd be receptive. Teenagers, damn, what are you going to do?
My thoughts are just kind of what we were talking about earlier. I think that for some kids, if you just keep them busy, it's fine. But my general fear with this particular kid is that he was truly an addict by this point. So for him, it was probably more than an activity. It was a habit. To me, that's what makes sense, is if other kids are just needing to keep busy, this kid is a little bit different. He definitely he needs some sort of substance abuse treatment, not just a mentor that's going to give him activities. That's what I would think.
Oh, I'm sure you're right. I don't think that the mentor is going to hurt.
No, definitely. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But I think that, there's a certain level that he had already reached with his drinking and drugs that probably just needed a little bit more specialized attention.
I would imagine that at first it was cool to have this attention. And then since, for jokes, right? All this stuff. And then after that, it's like, oh, those straight edge, guys.
Yes.
I'm hard ass. I'm badass, Manuel. I'm Tito. I'm a bad boy, right? Like, I kind of feel that the whole time I was looking through all this too. Was that at first he goes and trains, and then it's kind of like, those guys are punks. And they're cool with the cops. Like, fuck these guys.
Yeah, I think that he probably did dismiss them. At first, it's like, okay, now I have something to do. I'm learning how to box, which is tough. But then once he sees that the people he's training with are not tough guys like he thinks he is, it probably was a deterrent for him.
They didn't let him drink, a handle of Patron while he trained.
That's the thing.
Not going to work.
He probably saw himself just being like, let's drink, get wasted, and punch some shit.
Yeah.
And when it didn't turn out to be that, he's like, yeah, I'm gone.
He's like, wait, I have to learn how to do this?
Right. That I actually have to put in work.
Yeah, I have to, take out the trash, all that shit, pay my dues. What's that?
Right. That's what makes sense to me. Like you said, the Liao family, and Ralph in particular, were very straight-laced, and they were very friendly with the police, too, which was really out of the ordinary in this area where law enforcement had a pretty negative history with the locals. Ralph even partnered with the police department to train its officers for charity boxing events. Because of this, local gang members saw the Leal's garage as a threat to their future, and they regularly messed with the family.
I mean, I think if you're Ralph and you come from gang culture already, you know, you've had your own past, it's in your best interest for your kids to be cool with the police in this area.
Yeah, I completely understand why he would do that, especially he is a person that tried to turn his life around and he's doing it. He is succeeding at turning over a new leaf. And so now he wants to be involved with the law enforcement because he is trying to, in his own way, stop the gang violence. So it makes sense that he would be close with them, but it would also make sense that if they're coming by to train for charity events, if they're rolling by his house a lot, anybody that's local is like, we need the police out here. Like, this is not okay for them to be just coming through our neighborhood and stopping at this house.
The block is hot, ladies and gentlemen. The block is hot. Do not pull anything around this garage.
So I don't know. I think it was pretty upsetting for people to know that the cops were just coming around to visit this guy that you didn't really like, you know?
Yeah, they're blowing up their spot. I mean, they're up to no good. No good.
So they were always trying to basically put a stop to this by harassing the Leal family. And they did a bunch of stuff, but most recently, they had stolen Eddie's car. And of course, he reported it to the police, which again was unusual for this area where most people didn't trust the police. That was the most common thought. So when something disappeared, it was pretty rare to have the cops called.
Which says a lot about the neighborhood.
Yes. The car was found in the Long Beach area with the thieves still inside the car. They were arrested and the car was returned to Eddie. But of course, the burglars were released only a short time later. And this incident was just one of many where local gangs were trying to harass the Leal family and really discourage them from their work with kids and against gangs. And even beyond that, discourage them from bringing the cops around. Eddie's boxing training schedule was extremely hectic, and he really didn't have time to meet women. So he spent a fair amount of time on the internet trying to talk to girls in hopes of making a connection with someone.
Just for jokes.
You know, just for jokes.
Just for jokes.
And girls.
That is the funniest thing to me. I read that. I saw it in quotes, for jokes. That's exactly what he told everyone.
That's stupid.
I can just hear this like drunk teenager. Oh, it's just for jokes.
I didn't really see any information about Eddie using dating sites or anything like that. It seemed like he was really trying to just meet someone on Facebook.
Yeah,
right?
that was it. It was really just Facebook and
like maybe a friend of a friend would
Yes.
talk to you or whatever. You see someone cute commenting, so you'll hit them up.
only other thing out there, Mount San Jacinto College. It's a community college. I just thought of that. It's the only other thing out there. So there is, and you got Riverside College, you know, a little down the road, half hour away or so. So there is kind of a college community element. And then I think there's like a couple high schools. At this time, there was just like the one main high school. So it was kind of like a small town almost, Phil.
Yeah.
And you're surrounded by the mountains. So it is kind of small town.
And in a small town, you probably know a lot of people.
And then Facebook suggests this friend from your high school, suggests this friend from your high school, and it just spider webs. So you didn't really need a dating site. It's kind of what I just put it together as like, oh, Facebook.
Yeah.
The web of Facebook.
Right. It seems like a good tactic to meet new people, you know, friends or romantically. Like if you are in such a small town, you probably know a lot of people. And if there is someone you want to meet, they probably know someone you know. So that's what Eddie was going with at this point. He had recently received a friend request from someone named Rebecca Santiago. According to Rebecca's page, she was a fashion model and a college student, and she liked house parties.
This all just makes me laugh because her name is misspelled. Let's just put that out there.
Yes. I didn't pronounce it differently, but
No,
yes.
you did it fine, but it's misspelled. He misspelled Santiago, and then just went with it because that's what you do.
The H is silent.
The H is silent. Absolutely. It's like the name Tiago, right?
Right.
We'll go with that.
But also, this sounds like something that a teenage boy would put together. Ooh, she's a model and she's smart too. She goes to college and she likes house parties.
And what does she
Like,
study
I
in
like to
college,
party.
Brianna? What does she study?
Modeling.
Fashion. 'Cause that's all we care about is fashion. She's not an astrophysicist.
Right.
She's not, studying engineering. She's a fashion model.
That's the thing, is like, she's not a well-rounded person.
She's not at all. She's a caricature.
Right. Because he created this, because this is a man being like, this is what I want. I want a hot girl that likes to party.
It's a young boy trying to think of what a man would want.
Yes.
It would want to read.
What would lure someone in?
Anyone.
Or maybe we're reading too much into it. That's kind of like, part of me is just like, really, am I like attaching too much to this? Because it could just be like, oh, I don't know what to put. So like, I don't know, there's a lot of Instagram models. Let me just put that. And also there's a college out here. Let me just put that. And
but these
also
are all
like, I'm
things
also really drunk. So let me just say house parties.
But I think that it's definitely, Rebecca is a person that exists in his reality. Like, he's creating this person to lure people in. So it has to be something that is feasible, but is also, a little bit like, ooh, exciting. And he's a fucking kid. He doesn't have like some romantic experience. He's not going on dates and like getting out of the car and walking up to the door.
He's not the chivalrous type.
No.
Doesn't seem like it.
No. I think he's just going with what he knows some guy, just a dude will click.
Right.
It's fish in a barrel, my friend. Shooting fish in a barrel. It's a numbers game.
It really did work, Eddie saw this and he started chatting her up. They began exchanging Facebook messages. So the other thing that seemed weird about Rebecca was that she never talked on the phone. And it was because Rebecca said that she had lost her phone. And the first thing that stands out to me is I really wouldn't know any 21-year-old girl without a phone. I can't think of one person.
No, at all.
It just doesn't make sense to me. But then I also think the prime age to lose your phone, where most of your peers would understand, would be when you're in your early 20s.
What about 31? Because that was like 2 years ago. My phone jumped in an ocean.
Longtime listeners know Kelly.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, I have at least 15 numbers for Kelly in my phone. As recent as like 2 weeks ago, she got a new phone because she like cracked the screen or something. So there's, I think, people that are like repeat offenders of phone issues. But I think 21 is the prime age to be like, shit, I left it in a bar.
I feel like Kelly's like the only person that I will excuse this with.
No, seriously.
I'm serious. I'm totally with you. I can absolutely. Got a new number? Okay, let me get your new number then. I can hear this loud and clear.
It is a complete personality quirk. I really was texting one of our friends, another person, one of her friends that I know on Facebook. Yeah. I was like Facebook hunting her down because I was like, who the fuck would have her new number, And, this happens. So I think Eddie bought the story because he's like, well, sometimes it happens.
This goes hand in hand with the chick with the always shattered phone screen and long nails.
Yes.
That's a whole nother like subculture of
it's an archetype of person.
Yeah. It's like a whole nother like subculture. There's certain, and I don't want to put anyone in a box here, but there are definitely some boxes we can just check.
Yes.
Of people we know at certain ages. And, I guess maybe I'm being a little hard here saying that, Rebecca Santiago would have lost her phone at 21. But like, there's just too many things and I trust no one. So I'm immediately just like, how does a fashion student, a college student who needs to do homework, who do all these things, not have a phone for less than 24 hours because you get a burner?
It's a huge red flag to us.
Phones. Like,
no, absolutely. To us, it doesn't make sense. That sounds crazy. But Eddie bought it, I also think that we've got to think about the fact that we're both women. We're taught to be skeptical of this shit, I think. Because we're taught to just be like, hey, someone's going to try and like say that they're real and then not have a phone. And then it turns out that's because they're, someone crazy.
I just thought this is something, I don't know where this is going to go, but so we're told, like, be careful when you're internet dating. You have to watch out. You have to vet the people. You call your friend and you say, call me in 10 minutes and I'll let you know if it's going or if you need to come pick me up. Watch your drink. You put a napkin over it. You take it with you to the bathroom, which is so nasty that we take our drinks into the bathroom stall and set it on the toilet paper. And then we drink it when we go back out because we want to live through the night.
But that's what we're taught.
Are people telling young boys, men, what are their parents saying to them? Hey, I want to know what's up with this internet chick you're going to go out with. Do people give them the talk that we get? I never thought of this.
Nobody has ever told Eddie,
God, you're right,
that you have to talk on the phone to someone before meeting them in person.
You should really make sure she's a real person to talk to her. Unless you're Dina Lohan, who talked to that guy for 5 years and never met him, and now they're going to go on TV together. But
I mean, really, like, he was probably never, ever told to be careful.
No, you're right.
None of his friends or his parents were, concerned about online dating.
Walk with your keys sticking out of your hand when you're in a dark parking lot.
Because he is not the typical victim.
No,
he is not
not
the person that's going to be targeted. So he was never taught those sort of things.
Also, there's probably a little bit of an element to Eddie that he's like the perfect, oh, wow, because he's trained, he's a boxer. So anything that walks up on him, he can handle. He can take care of anything. So he doesn't really care because even if this woman is fake, he can kick the shit out of the man that shows up.
Absolutely. I think that there is this extra element of him being tough. So he's not afraid of anyone because he's trained.
And he knows the cops.
Right.
There's a lot here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stacking.
That everything added up to where he wouldn't be extra careful. He was never told to, and he was extra brave because of all the fighting. And it just wouldn't make sense for him to really take that extra precaution. But to me, I don't know. It's just, it's just I could never imagine not talking to someone on the phone and then meeting up with them.
Me neither.
That makes no sense. It's crazy.
I mean, selling something on Craigslist maybe is the only thing I can think of is like, hey, I'll meet you, stranger, with a bunch of my dude friends still, right? Or in the restaurant parking lot of where we're all eating and they're all going to come out with me. Yeah. And then I'll sell you this painting and then we'll go back inside. I don't know. Whatever you meet people on Craigslist for in the parking lot of a restaurant.
Yeah, I don't know. But then again, it's like we've all taken risks.
I think we're also extra. We do a true crime podcast.
Yeah.
So anything, we are skeptical and we're just, what?
But that said, I mean, just to be honest, I mean, at this age,
I'm fine with it.
I was doing some real stupid shit. I played so many video games that I remember showing up to play video games with like a group of dudes that I've never met.
Okay.
Like that kind of stuff just didn't seem weird to me. It's like, well, we've played video games online together. Never mind the fact that there's like 10 dudes and I'm the only girl, like just driving out to hang out with these people. But it didn't seem strange to me. So I don't know. Nowadays, with all the true crime under my belt, that idea is terrifying. I have no idea what I was thinking.
When we think back on our youth, our young adulthood, our teen years and stuff, how we aren't an episode of our own show.
Yes.
I mean,
we have talked about this so much. I think it really contributes to my fascination with true crime.
I agree.
Just like a lot of the stupid choices that I made that I just can't imagine thinking back. Like if I had a daughter that did the same things I did, I mean, I would just never sleep ever again.
Or like maybe that house party when you saw something that was kind of strange in the corner of your eye, you thought it was weird, whatever. And then like 10 years go by and you find out like that guy's in prison now for some crazy, he was a youth pastor who, had a relationship for 10 years with a girl at school. I mean, like crazy things that you find out later that you're just like, oh my God.
And at the time, you don't bat an eye.
The creepy dad at the sleepovers that you go
God.
Years and years. And then all of a sudden one day you just go, oh my God, I can't believe that. And it's like, there's a lot that happens.
Yes. And it's easy to see it in hindsight, especially knowing a lot of the things that we know now. But I think
But Eddie wasn't trained like us.
No, not at all. And we were trained like that when we did stupid shit.
We still did it.
So I'm just kind of like, well, I got to have some understanding for the fact that nobody taught him that. And even if they did, he would still make mistakes that I did.
The video game thing that you bring up is an absolute just whole nother conversation, because I am not a game person. I am not about this. I could give a shit. I know nothing. But I know that it exists. There is a whole world, millions, billions, peoples, and dollars. But it's just insane to me what video games, and we're going to get into this later too with Murder Dictionary, what video games can make people do and where you can go. Because you're right, like gaming, I absolutely knew friends that would be like, yeah, I'm going to meet these strange men. And I'm just like, I don't understand what you're about, but I guess it's cool. But it's,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think of that.
I really don't know what I was thinking. But at the same time,
Your brain wasn't fully formed.
I guess not.
I guess.
I don't know. But I do. I mean, I think there was things in my head that I did to comfort myself. Like I would play on Xbox Live with people. Like I never really met up with anyone that I never played extensively with. And then like I would become friends with them on Facebook. Like that kind of stuff is definitely not foolproof. That's not just a complete safety net, but it gave me some peace of mind. Like, well, I know what this person is a little bit, you know? Doesn't make sense to me now, but
maybe
at the time.
I mean, because then you realize like, well, it could have been Rebecca Santiago.
Completely.
Right?
Completely. And I don't know. I mean, having all that taught to me still didn't make a difference. So for Eddie, being a tough boxer with all this experience and never being told those things, he just really didn't think anything of it. He took Rebecca at her word. If she says she doesn't have a phone and this is why, then that's what's up with Rebecca.
Yeah.
And that's sad, but he believed it. At this point that this profile, Rebecca, was talking to Eddie, there were also 3 other men that had begun talking to her at the same time. But those men were actually scared off by the fact that she refused to talk on the phone. Some of the men that she was talking to, looking back at the messages, even suggested that she briefly use someone else's phone, but she refused to do that. And that's really the point where the rest of the guys became wary of her. When she even refused to just call once on someone else's phone, just like a proof of life thing, they were like, yeah, I'm out. And at the point that they became a little bit disinterested because she wouldn't talk on the phone, Rebecca would pretty much ghost these guys once they didn't agree to meet up with her.
But this successful fashion model in fashion school without a phone has so many men on the line. You just go to the next one.
Right. And that's, what I was
falling for this shit left and right.
But that's what I was talking about at the very beginning. I mean, this is why people that are perpetrators use the internet, because you can do what they called window shopping. You can look for 80 people at once. And as those drop out because you're not talking on the phone, that goes down to 60 and down to 40. But at the same time, you're still talking to a bunch of people and you still have possibilities. So
very different than window shopping at breakfast at Tiffany's with a croissant in your hand and some sunglasses.
Very different.
A little different.
On May 30th, 2011, Rebecca posted an open-ended post about wanting to hang out and do something tonight. Eddie saw this and took the bait.
We have all seen this message. We have all seen this message from dudes from high school, chicks from work, anybody, random friends you haven't even thought about in 10 years, but tonight they're on Facebook. And it's really weird that they're on there because they're never on there, but all of a sudden they want to hang. And you're just like, yeah, they're on a good one tonight. I ain't going there. Am I the only person that when they see that post, that's what they think? Like, oh, stay away, as far away as possible from the person that wants to hang tonight.
We've all seen it. And every time I do, I'm just like, oh, no.
Oh, you're in a bad spot, buddy.
That's
girlfriend.
Not good.
Not great.
I assume every single time, even if there's no information, I assume that somebody went through a breakup and they just want to get wasted and have a babysitter.
Job was lost.
Yes.
Somebody died. Something's coming up they don't want to deal with.
Right.
All these things.
Every time I see that, that's what I read.
So let's get together.
Yeah. It's just like, come on.
No,
thank you. So Rebecca asked Eddie to meet her at Cutting Park off Ivy Crest Drive in San Jacinto at 2 a.m. That's another red flag for any of us that have been socialized to be afraid of these interactions.
What woman is just chilling at the park at 2 a.m. by herself waiting for you? No, I'm sorry. Anybody on Facebook that is going to answer.
Yeah.
Who is that person? And why are you just like, yeah, I gotta go.
The
See her.
possibility of that is scary.
It's weird.
2 a.m. is not the right time to just hang out with someone that you never met before.
I feel like Eddie is a little bit of a Captain Save-A-Ho.
Maybe.
With the police background, with the, it's possible. And there's nothing wrong with that. But this is where you need to just look out for yourself, Eddie.
I think that what I believed when I was reading about him was that maybe he was more naive because he had been possibly a little bit sheltered. He had grown up only knowing his dad's new life and the interaction with cops and just doing the boxing, but probably wasn't exposed to kind of the stuff that builds street smarts,
Maybe it's just a kickback in the park.
Really?
Totally
I think
like a innocent San Jacinto kickback because there's nothing to do out there. So this happens all the time, I'm sure. Now I'm rethinking myself. I can change my mind. I'm a woman. But yeah.
I don't know. There's also part of me that's just like, if you are the type of person that's just a good person, you kind of assume that other people are going to be good. And if you don't have those street smarts to tell you to look out for it, you're really going to assume the best of people, not the worst. And I think that Eddie may have been that kind of person that was just like, well, I would never hurt someone that agreed to meet up with me at 2 a.m. So why would they do anything to me?
Maybe.
It seems like there's a lot of red flags that he didn't see, So I would have to assume that maybe it's just him being good natured and assuming that other people are too. That's what I thought. But it's an assumption.
I thought that through the whole story too, that basically like until someone shows you evil, you don't really know they're evil.
Right.
So he just assumes, what he's told, what is shown to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the message from Rebecca asked Eddie to first stop and pick up her brother, who would then take him to a liquor store and buy them Four Loko.
Ugh. I can taste it right now.
When Eddie arrived, Rebecca was not there. So he returned home and he messaged with her. She apologized and explained that she had went into a friend's house because it had been too cold outside. But she convinced him to come back to the park, and she promised that she would actually be there this time. Again, she instructed him to first meet her brother, and then her brother would take Eddie to Rebecca.
This is a lot.
Yes.
These are a lot of detailed directions. You got to do all that. This is a lot for some fucking Facebook pussy.
Yeah.
I mean, is that mean? Is that harsh? I don't think it is because, I mean, he's going to the park at 2 a.m. to meet her. Like, I'm not crazy to assume that, maybe they're going to hook up. Maybe they're going to make out or something. But you got to meet my brother. You got to go to the liquor store. You got to pick up this disgusting drink. You got to do this and that. And then I'm not there. And then I'll come back. That's a lot for someone you've never even seen in person.
It seems really off, especially what happens in my brain when someone kind of does this runaround where it's like, I'm here, now I'm not here. Okay, this is what happened. Now do it again, come back. But like, to me, once someone backs out a first time, I start questioning what's going on with this person.
Immediately.
Even in best case scenario, at minimum, they're just unstable. Maybe I should steer clear. Like it sends a certain red flag to me where I'm just like, yeah, maybe this isn't the type of person I want to be in a park with at 2 a.m. Because they're just all over the place.
That too. I mean, I don't want to leave my house after 6.
There is that.
Now with the time change, 7. Like I don't want to. I'm not going to 2 a.m. You got to be my mom, my sisters, or you.
Right?
right? For
Yeah.
me to be like, I'm going
If you
to the
hit me
park.
up and we're just like, hey, we have to go to the park right now, I'd be like, all right, Cord,
You're
I
gonna
guess
meet
we're
my
going to the
brother,
park.
and you're gonna get some Four Loko, Brianna, and then you're gonna go, and then I won't even be there. It'll
But
be great.
other than that, there's just no other situation
And if
where
I
that would
sent
make
you these
sense.
messages, you'd be like, "Oh, Court's on a good one.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'd be
I'll
like-
get you the Four Loko. I'll be right there."
Right.
But if this is a stranger, these are the craziest requests you've ever heard.
Yeah.
It's insanity.
It really is.
I mean, what makes
It doesn't
sense?
make sense. And the other thing that stands out to me is they were supposed to meet up at 2 a.m., but now you can't buy liquor. So you've already canceled the first meetup. Now you're meeting the brother, but you can't even go with the brother to the liquor store because it's after alcohol hours.
You're a genius because I didn't even think about the freaking time and all this. I
so
mean,
the story
all of
makes
it.
even less sense than it originally did.
That is someone under 21 making plans.
Yeah.
That's what that is. That, oh, wow, I didn't even think of that part. I just assumed, like, yeah, you can get booze everywhere anytime.
Yep. Yeah.
Forgot all about that.
I mean, it makes
Those
sense
rules.
before. It makes sense at 1 a.m. or something. But if
Sure.
you already didn't meet up the first time, now it's way late. You know, we're talking 2:33 or something. Now you've got to assume there's no reason for the brother to be involved. And it becomes even more sketchy. It's a less believable story at this point.
These are the only things that hosts of a true crime podcast think so, I swear.
Let's get to the bottom of this Four Loko issue.
Absolutely. Who even drinks that?
I have no idea. So Eddie agreed to the second meetup. He really didn't think anything of this, or maybe he just wanted to meet up with her so much that he was willing to go along with it. So he got back into his 1990 Toyota Corolla and he headed back to the park.
That's the same car that had been stolen and returned.
Yes. Eddie arrived to see the now 17-year-old Manuel Guzman, his former boxing student, instead of Rebecca. Words were exchanged, and Manuel got into the back seat of Eddie's car, leading him down to Roanoke Street. And I'm wondering, we really don't know what was said, but the first thing I thought was, did Eddie immediately know that he was catfished? What words were exchanged? You know, it's just, to me, heartbreaking if he knew right away, uh-oh, I'm in trouble, you know, and then just had to sit there and go through the motions knowing he was in danger. I just don't know. I don't know what they were arguing about.
I mean, if Manuel's good, like, he walks up and he's just like, hey, what's up? Yeah, no, I'm friends with her brother. I talked to him. Like, I'm going to take you over there. Just jump in the back.
Yeah.
Or it's, what the hell are you doing out here? Oh, I'm friends with her. Oh, get in the backseat of the car. That's it.
But it really, I feel like especially the fact that he got into the backseat of the car, you know he was being held at gunpoint. That's what that says to me.
And we have to trust Manuel
Yeah.
at this point and what he says.
Yeah, we just don't have the other side. That's all the information we have. So they began driving. Manuel's in the back seat. And like I said, I'm just assuming he's making him drive at gunpoint. And they came around the corner and Manuel just shot Eddie 5 times in the back from the back seat. He then got out of the car, ran around to the passenger side, and fired several more shots and then left Eddie there. The location of the meeting was shockingly only about 100 yards from Manuel's home. That's just, oh man, it's just so crazy.
All you can do is just kind of like shake your head.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? And we know that he was doing robberies
Mhm.
with Facebook in the past. So yeah, maybe he did have a gun to his head and just said, hey, drive around the corner, park around the side of the house because the house is kind of on the side, sort of side.
The
spot.
side.
You know, the side. So he just pulls around to the side, parks there, give me your money, see ya. And he's home. He doesn't have to go anywhere. He's 17, probably
Yeah.
drunk out of his mind. Like he's
He's
not
not thinking about the long.
and
like,
he doesn't think at any point he's going to get caught because he's gotten away with it with a bunch of people. He probably tells them all, like, hey, you meet up with me, some hot chick, and then they're too embarrassed to say they got catfished.
yeah.
So they never report it. This is an area where everything goes unreported anyway.
Yeah.
Poor Eddie.
It probably was something that he had gotten away with before, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, It just seems very stupid for anyone that's actually,
Less than 100 yards.
worried about forensics and worried about being found out. You would think that's just a dumb choice. So Eddie Leal died very soon after the ambush. He passed away at the scene. His car was actually still in drive, and it continued to roll down the street with Eddie's body still in the front seat. Eventually, it came to a stop after hitting a parked car. When neighbors saw this, they called the police because they wanted to report some sort of disturbance and this state of a weird car that was just left in the street. According to Eddie's brother Gilbert, when his body was found, he was slumped over the seat with his cell phone just in his hand, and the numbers 9 and 1 were dialed.
It's so just unfortunate.
It breaks my heart when I see that.
I don't even... Stephanie Lazarus and Sherry Rasmussen. Sherry Rasmussen had her hand on the panel for the alarm, and there were handprints where she's trying to get to it. And every time I hear about stuff like that, or 9-1, it just kills me even more.
It breaks my heart how close it is to just getting help and it not happening. It just seems like such a tragedy. I had a friend that passed away recently with the same circumstance where they found his body and he had 911. He actually had 911, but hadn't hit send.
Oh my God.
And I mean, it's just gut wrenching. So I can't imagine how his family felt just knowing that their son, their brother had dialed this number and been so close to getting help and it never reached him. So it's just so sad. Of course, when the detectives arrived on the scene, they knew who this was right away, knowing Eddie's family. So they went to the Leal home to inform them about Eddie's passing. And many of the officers themselves were devastated because they had been friends with the Leal family. They had known Eddie since he was a child.
One of the shows I watched in preparation and just things I'd seen it prior before even doing this, but there's one cop that he just breaks down that he had trained for the celebrity or charity box match, all these things, and he just falls apart discussing this and just talking about them.
Yeah. It seems like they had really, really like long-term friendships with the cops, not just some sort of acquaintance, but actual people that cared about them.
I think it was in the training, like the boxing training. They became like real friendships, not just working relationship.
Yeah.
Sad.
Detectives asked if they could search the Leal home for any ideas of who would have done this to Eddie. So the day after the murder, Manuel's father picked him up and they fled to LA. It's theorized that this is where Manuel disposed of the murder weapon because it was never recovered.
Yeah, he has no really deep relationship with his father. He doesn't really spend any time with him. But the day after this happens, suddenly they have to go to LA to like visit family. And that makes no sense.
No. The last person to see Eddie alive was his brother Gilbert, who saw him the night before using the computer in his bedroom. The window on that computer was still open, so detectives knew the last thing he did was message this girl, Rebecca, about meeting up in the park.
Just seems pretty obvious at this point.
Yeah.
If you're a cop.
Investigator Tony Pilato contacted Facebook to find out the IP address that the messages had come from, but this took some time to research and get that information back, which I was kind of surprised by. I felt like it should be pretty quick if you're talking about a murder case, right?
Yes.
I was shocked at the amount of time that this took.
Yes, you're right.
The immediate theory was that this was a retaliation murder for reporting Eddie's stolen car to the police, which to me seems like it makes sense in just the immediate aftermath.
Good theory.
Yeah. I mean, they had been known to be victims of some harassment. And so because there was this incident recently, it would make sense. They went to the cops. Now people are coming after them because they shouldn't have gone to the cops, you know?
You write all that on a clipboard or on a whiteboard somewhere, you can just check these off one at a time. For sure. Makes sense.
So they brought all the car thieves from that case in for questioning. And they were actually shocked to find out that they all had alibis. And even more surprising than that, all of their alibis checked out.
Shocking. Can you imagine?
Yeah, they were just like, yeah, we've solved this case. We've got these guys. Let's ask them. And
one
now
of these dudes did this shit. All right.
Yes.
You know?
So they really weren't expecting to just have to throw out that theory and go somewhere else.
Imagine like the palm to the forehead. Just dope.
Yes.
Damn it.
Every part of them thought they were making that arrest that day. They thought that case was closed. We're going to go to the Leal home. We're going to tell them we solved the case. I mean, they really expected this.
Can you believe this is over a stolen car?
Right.
Yeah.
At this point, Manuel must have thought that he had committed the perfect crime because he clearly believed that he got away with it. And he was unaware that the detectives would actually be able to trace the IP address from the park meetup messages back to him. Very soon after the murder, Manuel went and got a tattoo of a smoking gun.
He did a lot of what I'm going to call the Casey Anthony tour, where he did a lot of really stupid little things like the hot body contest, the Bella Vita tattoo. This is his Bella Vita tattoo. He goes and talks shit to people about stuff. He's in bar. He's 17, but he's like showing up places like big britches now. All of a sudden, he's got this fucking attitude he didn't really have before. I don't know if maybe he's like sobering up. Maybe it doesn't have to drink as much now because he's, got this. But I read from another, like a chick that he talked to, that he was like a new person. Like just this, like the shoulders were bigger, if you will. Does that make sense?
Yeah. He had a little bit more bravado, a little bit of
skipping his step, which is terrible.
That's messed up. That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Goes and gets the tattoo. He's showing up at bars, and he's underage.
I mean, I just chalk this up to being stupid, but I mean, it does kind of say something about him that he's just turned into someone else.
With it,
yeah,
is what he says.
He thinks he's a big tough guy murderer,
and now he can do it again, right? Like in his head. To me, is kind of where that bravado comes from.
Yeah, interesting. Yikes,
Bella Vita.
That I don't know.
Gun.
To me, that makes him even more scary.
I thought so too, and he was only 17.
Yeah. Wow. Over the next several months, Detective Pilato matched Rebecca's pictures to an East Coast internet model. But when they questioned her, she had no connection to the victim, and she was not the murderer. She was ruled out. A year after the murder, Facebook informed detectives that every message and the profile itself had come from the same IP address. I cannot believe it took them a year to get them information.
It makes no sense.
It makes me so angry. This is a kid that died. He was shot. Get the information to the cops.
To quote Mark Zuckerberg from the last episode when he was asked for a statement, we need to do better.
Yes. That's not good enough. That's a year that the whole family was just waiting for answers about what happened. That they didn't know who killed him.
And I'm surprised he didn't do more in that year.
Yeah.
He's not smart enough to be like, it's time for me to go underground.
No.
And behave for a year before I spend the money, right? That kind of thing.
It is kind of shocking that he didn't commit more violence.
He just talks a good game and gets some tattoos. That's...
Yeah.
It's bizarre.
Yeah.
I guess being so young.
Maybe
helped him there.
So with the information that Facebook provided, they matched that IP address to the home address of Manuel Guzman's mother's house. Detective Pilato was also able to find messages to one other person where Rebecca admits that his real identity is Manuel. And he says that he made the page up to mess with people.
For jokes.
For murders.
For murders.
It was also determined that Manuel logged on and off the account at the exact same times that he would have had to in order to make it to the park to meet Eddie that night. On April 10th, 2012, Manuel was apprehended at his mother's home and brought in for questioning.
And again, this is only like 100 yards from where that murder happened.
Mm-hmm.
He's living at the crime scene
Yes.
the whole time. He's just living there. When they walk him out, the perp walk, right, of his house, he's looking at the corner of Roanoke Street right there. It's just crazy to me.
Yeah. Manuel claimed that he was asleep at the time of the murder. He clearly didn't know that police had seen the messages because when he was questioned about the computer, he freely admitted that he was the only person that had access to that computer. Because he didn't realize that the evidence they had was the IP address, saying that he was the only person who used that computer meant that he unknowingly connected himself to the messages sent on the night of May 11th. So Manuel Guzman was charged with first-degree murder with special circumstances of lying in wait and using a gun. Because Manuel was only 17 at the time of the murder, he could not receive the death penalty. But since he was only a few months from being 18, they decided to try him as an adult.
I guess it all makes sense. It doesn't matter anyway now because we're not executing anyone ever again in California.
Yeah. But at the time, I mean, the possibility of that would just, I don't know, he's 17. That's crazy. But I mean, it makes sense to me that they would try him as an adult.
Yeah.
You
I don't
know?
know that anybody would convict him of death because of his, he's so young and all that. So
Well, yeah, I
you
mean-
have to take it off the table just to start with.
Yes, it
Just
was
to
off
even
the
talk
table.
about it. Yeah, you have to.
During the trial, testimony showed that the 5 bullet casings from the scene did not have Manuel's DNA on them. And this strengthened the attorney's argument that there was no evidence to prove that he was the one that fired the gun. Manuel's sister testified that she had seen him washing clothes early the next morning, saying that he was trying to throw off law enforcement by destroying evidence.
That's bizarre. I mean, you tell your sister you're trying to throw off law enforcement by destroying evidence. Just interesting. And then you jump in your dad's car and go to LA.
Yeah.
Same day.
So he must have immediately felt bad and told everybody. Maybe not all the details, but let people know that he needed to get out of town. He needed to destroy evidence.
At the very least, yeah, I think he told like his immediate family in the house and then called dad because dad will help him clean this up.
Yeah. A forensic computer expert testified that the profile picture for Rebecca was created on the computer in Manuel's bedroom. The friend who received the messages admitting that Rebecca was actually Manuel also testified at the trial. Expert testimony even showed that there was a literal road map that was sent from Manuel's computer to Eddie. Manuel's appearance in court ran the gamut of emotions ranging from laughing and smiling to sobbing and visibly upset. He was clearly on a complete emotional roller coaster during the trial.
He was all over the place.
And I wonder if he really genuinely felt bad or if he just felt bad for himself. I always think that when people are upset in court, like, do you feel remorseful genuinely or do you just feel sad that you're caught?
When it's something like this, it's hard to say, and I don't want a blanket statement. This to me feels like he's sorry he got caught. When it's big, crazy, wild sobbing, this and then, these big gestures and things like that, to me, this does not feel like it's for the other people. It just, I feel, I don't know. I'm sitting in court quietly, just reflecting and seeing what you've done to someone else looks different to me than, oh my God, I'm 17 and what have I done to my life? And holy shit, now I'm going to explode. And, I'm very immature and wild anyway. Kind of, I don't.
Yeah, there's something to me that I don't know. I don't buy it with him.
I don't either.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like he feels bad for anyone but himself
Yeah.
in any way.
No, not at all. But he did read a letter to the court in which he blames his parents and his teachers and relatives for the current state that he's in. And that's just another thing to me that makes me feel like he just did not care.
No.
Doesn't feel bad at all. He claimed that he was so intoxicated that night that he doesn't remember what happened. And he was just wanting to rob Eddie so he would have money to go on vacation with his dad.
That's kind of what I figured too, is it's just give me all your money and no one gets hurt.
Right. I don't necessarily think his intention was to go in there and kill someone, but I don't know. It doesn't make sense why he would do it.
Eddie knew who he was.
So he had to,
He was a former student. So even if he, give me all your money, no one gets hurt. Okay, he get 911 send. Hey, I just got robbed by my former student. You can find him at this address. Maybe, but then it's also like, okay, so why are you looking for people that you know though?
Yeah.
You're better off with strangers. But he is young and dumb. I don't think he put that together really. But then Eddie may have even just said, hey, I'm calling 911. And then he shot him.
Maybe, yeah.
9-1, and then it's over.
Yeah, I guess.
He knew who he was.
I would think that, just looking for people to rob, he would already know that he knows this person.
I completely agree with you. I just always go back to this guy. I hate to say like, oh, he's stupid, but he made stupid decisions in this.
Yeah. He clearly was
Somebody
just
know?
not an expert criminal or anything. No. This was just something that kind of, I think, got out of hand for him.
It was robbery. It was pattern. He'd done it before. He can get away with it again. This one got a little complicated. I think got away from him. And then also this is where the stories with he backs out of it. Go get the drink. My brother's going to meet you. The first time, I don't think he expected him to show up maybe.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh shit, this is real. Bring him back and bring me some beer.
I guess. I mean, I don't know. There's so much of this that doesn't make sense.
No.
There's
senseless.
so many times that you can just draw straight lines of like, this happened because of this, then this happened. And we know that the forensics line up with that and the psychology lines up with this. This case is just nothing but wild cards. None of this makes sense to me. It's just one of those completely senseless and random things.
He was a kid and this got he felt this got out of hand over his head. God, finish it, fix it. He shot him 5 times.
Crazy. Manuel said in court, "Why did I kill Eddie? For the first time, someone came. I looked in the mirror crying while holding a gun and told myself, you don't have to do this. That's the night they said I killed Eddie. But all I remember is waking up in my bed, and I was scared." Oh, man. He just has no remorse. He just only cares about his own experience.
And that whole statement is bullshit because people came before too.
Right.
And you robbed them.
Like, we know that this was a scam that he was pulling.
Don't talk about how finally someone's going to come and see me. This whole bullshit. People have come already because you've set it up to rob them. Your motivation is not to spend time with people because you're a victim of your parents and your kids. I mean, teachers.
Yeah.
No, somebody already came and you robbed them all every time someone came.
And every time I say the same thing, there's so many people that have had tough upbringings that do not do what he just did. I mean, you don't have to murder someone just because things are tough.
Nope.
So blaming other people just never holds weight with me, Manuel said that he recently found God while he was in jail awaiting trial. And he claimed that during the murder, he was possessed by the devil and demons.
Well, aren't they all?
Jesus. It's just everything's a cop-out with this kid. He said he would go to heaven when he died because he believes he is a good person. And he even elaborated that he believed he would see Eddie there.
And this right here is when I lost my shit for that family.
Yes.
Who the fuck do you think you are? I mean, he's never been stable. He is not, but he's not with us, like feelings and emotion. No, this makes it clear to me.
Yeah.
Like there is an emotional break. He's compartmentalizes. Kid is not all with the full deck.
Yeah. And at this point, the judge even scolded him in court because he said that the Leal family were like his brothers and sisters.
Disgusting.
I feel like he's kind of mirroring or mimicking, like he knows he should pretend to have some sort of love and affection and attachment to these people that were trying to help him get a better life. So he's saying these things out loud that he doesn't realize are actually hurtful and offensive, because to him, he's like, well, I'm supposed to say that I care about their feelings. That's what I'm supposed to say. But he doesn't realize the way he's doing it is fucked up.
He sits in court and he screams and he cries and he sobs and he makes all these big scenes, right? And everybody's like telling him, oh my gosh, you're acting crazy, da 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 da. And then all of a sudden, when he's in statements where he's fighting for his life for sentencing, now he suddenly has this this feeling for the family. Oh, I feel bad for you guys. No, you feel bad for yourself. And an attorney got to you and said, this is a bad look. Stop doing this in court. You're going away forever. You're not going to have a chance, even as a juvenile. If you keep pandering and making people fucking hate you.
Right.
And then he goes in, he takes it too far and he goes gross with it. You're my brothers and sisters. Oh, I love you so much. No. Now you've taken it too far.
Right. He doesn't know what it's like to actually have those genuine feelings towards people, and him pretending just looks terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Manuel had not really shown any remorse before this, and this letter was really the first instance where he admitted to killing Eddie, and he expressed regret about his actions. Whether it be genuine or not, the words were the first time that really came out. Judge Michael B. Donner said, "This is one of the most disturbing trials this court has ever presided over. In every other case where violence was inflicted upon a victim, there was at least a reason. Here, it was a random victim, and this was essentially a thrill kill." Manuel Guzman was found guilty on all charges and received a sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole. Slow clap.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, nobody wins.
Yeah, but he's not safe on the streets.
I was about to say, he's not fit for consumption.
He's not
But it's
fit
true.
for being out. I mean, it just seems like from so young, I don't know. I don't think that he has that kind of sensitivity chip that makes him attached to other people. I think that if someone else has something that he wants, he will take it, no matter how old he is. It's just never going to grow. He's never going to just like have a growth spurt of empathy, you know?
The addiction, very, very young, most likely stunted him, clearly broke his brain a bit. I mean, literally broke his brain. It's forming
so
at the time when
sad.
he's completely fucked up. So it's the chemicals, it's going to have an effect. And I appreciate and I acknowledge your Brad Pitt, Jennifer Aniston sensitivity chip comment, because it's true. That's a great way to describe it. It's like there's no sensitivity chip. And I think that's something that's also learned. Empathy is, you learn it from feeling your own. And he really didn't have anybody. He was living alone in abandoned houses when he's like 13, trying to get away from people. So
he never had the opportunity to form attachments because his family wasn't attached to him.
Very solitary life.
Yeah. But I think that to me, it just seems like a combination of so many things on top of each other. Any of those things alone or even together doesn't equal murder, but it's just this combination of, being an addict so young, 12 years old, and then on top of, growing up in a family that didn't seem like it was very loving, having some challenges with, his mental health, most likely. All of these on top of each other and needing to get money. I don't know. I think that it just all combined to where he was willing to do something random and desperate. And there's so many other people in his situation that would not do what he did. None of those things equal murder. But for him, it was just this, I don't know, just all the wrong things at the same time. So it's just really devastating that this this such a promising young life was caught in the crossfire. After the trial was over, one part of the investigation actually led police to an old, unsolved cold case. During the murder investigation, fingerprints were pulled off Eddie's Corolla, and it was discovered that Eddie's father, Ralph, had an outstanding warrant from a crime 31 years prior in Rowland Heights.
This is where this story takes this turn. And it goes from like, oh, this is so sad. And now it's just tragic.
So back when Ralph was still a gang member in 1982, he had participated in an attack which led to the death of one victim and a second person suffering brain damage. After this, Ralph had moved his family to San Jacinto to turn his life around, and he began going by the name Ralph instead of his birth name, which was Gilbert. Because of the close relationship that Ralph had with the police, once his fingerprints popped up, they politely came to his home and they just questioned him about the warrant. But really, the fingerprint evidence was pretty straightforward, so Ralph was arrested for the murder. In 2012, Ralph and one of his former gang affiliates were sentenced to 8 years for the murder that had taken place in 1982. Many people involved in the case were really upset that they got such a light sentence. And it does seem that Ralph was given special treatment because he had such a friendly relationship with the police.
I mean, you thought everything was cool. You know, the way that Ralph Gilbert Sr. puts it, he didn't know that a person, he knew, like, basically he beat the shit out of someone with a pipe kind of thing. It was a gangland, territory warfare stuff. And thought that, the one person was hurt, didn't know the other guy had died, and ran out of town. Really makes me think it's also gang injunction related. They never stated that part of it, but the timeline adds up, and he just bounced out, took his wife and kid and everything, and they went out to San Jacinto, and he restarts his life. New name, everything. So the real sad thing to me is Gilbert Jr., the son, who was trying to rebuild and trying to, like, okay, we're going to take care of mom. My brother's dead. My dad's, this and that. And then boom, one day, like, dad's pulled out from your life. Now you've got mom. And the look in that mother's eyes, what she's been through, and then, like, everything's fine. And then he had never told her anything about it. And she's just ripped out from under her. Yeah. And at least they're solving cold cases, but damn.
Yeah, I think, it's really incredible to me that they just pulled these fingerprints off. And we have so many things with, just open cold cases forever. And none of these families have answers. And I think that it's phenomenal that Ralph, had done something awful and then decided he wanted to turn his life around. Obviously, whatever happened that night was so overwhelming to him that he was like, I can't live like this anymore. And it says a lot about his character.
Probably his rock bottom.
But yeah, exactly. But at the same time, there was still, for 30 years, two families out there that, suffered so much for decades, just not knowing what happened to the person that they loved. And
it's lovely that you had your awakening.
But that doesn't change the fact that these two people suffered.
You've got to take care of all your loose ends before you can close that up and move on in your life. And he didn't do that.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting that the family was just sitting there kind of like, it's never going to get solved. Nothing's ever going to happen with this. And that one man is brain damaged, like basically being cared for the rest of his life. It was a horrible situation. And he only got 8 years.
I just can't imagine.
The other guy got longer, too.
I can't imagine getting that information. Like, we finally found the guy. Then you flash forward, however, a year later, you go through the trial. And it's like, oh, well, we know who did it, but we're only sending him to jail for 8 years for a murder and a completely life-changing injury. I would be firstly just relieved in the immediate aftermath. And then all of a sudden just like, are you kidding me? I'd be fucking livid.
There were a couple interviews that I saw that some people, including a very religious member of the family of the previous 31-year prior murder, said that the 8 years was not very much, but at the same time, they also took into account that like he lost his son.
They probably felt
and
bad.
sort of felt badly about the way that he was caught and that his son was dead, and now his whole family is just imploding and he's never going to have a normal life again. You know, they've already dealt with the fact that their loved one was gone. He needs to pay for that. But damn, kind of the same how we look at each other just like, can you believe how this went down? Yeah. They were all just shocked. But you know that, that wasn't enough time.
It's just, this story is just tragedy upon tragedy upon tragedy in every corner and every aspect. And it's just heartbreaking.
And Ralph's wife, Eddie's mom, Mrs. Liao, her every interview, and you know, she speaks very little to no English and is just so devastating to watch when she's telling these stories in the interviews, and so happy when she talks about the boxing in the garage and the training and the police, and they had so much pride in what they had done.
Yeah.
And then it just collapsed.
Right.
Thanks to Facebook. No.
I mean, seriously.
Kind of like, damn.
They had accomplished so much. And,
yeah, they
did. He had obviously done something awful, but on the back of that, he had been like, let me just change the lives of other people. And I mean, seemed like they were not only hated in the community, but also kind of local heroes at the same time, depending on who you were and which side of the coin you were on. You loved them or you hated them. But they had accomplished a lot. Really probably changed a lot of kids' lives, you know?
Eddie had just, I think it was 2 weeks or a month or something right before this whole thing happened. He had just won his first title fighting for Team Liao. They had their own team, and he was officially now a professional boxer. He can say, I've won a fight. I'm being paid to do this. I am a fighting professional boxer. I mean, that's huge. He's not just training in a garage somewhere. Team Liao. So it was like things were coming together. And the cops even say that too. They're just like, everything was coming together for them. And it's great and it's wonderful. But then the past comes back. Yeah. And then Eddie just gets caught up in this whole thing.
It's crazy because I don't know. I'm not a person that normally like draws the lines of karma.
I don't either.
At all. I'm just never that person. But hearing this story at the end, I'm just sitting there like, well, you know, Ralph took a life and then lost his son. And that never to me is just like, well, you get what you give. I'm not that type of person. But it seems so crazy that it ended up being that way. Not like this is always what happens or the universe always does that. It's not my thing. But it seems like this story is just one of those one for one kind of things. I mean, he now knows what it's like to have done to him what he did to other families. And that's just crazy. That's
sins of the father.
Yeah.
And Ralph, everything I read, Ralph has legit remorse.
Yeah.
In every aspect. Served his time, no question, never appeal, nothing. Just give me the time. Let me do it. Done. Okay. Now let me try to rebuild my life again for the third time.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, there's no like, well, if you're going to do it, right? But if you're going to get caught later for a cold case crime, your fingerprints, it's all there. Please just admit and just take it and just do your time like Ralph here.
Absolutely.
Please don't pull any of this shit. What happened was I was asleep at the time. Like, stop it.
No bullshit. Just own up to it and serve your time.
So all you criminals out there listening, just do your time. All right? Just do your fucking time. Just take it. Shit.
Oh my goodness.
It is really like an extraordinary parallel lines case. This story is insane. And it's also very telling that like DNA is going to get you. Yeah. Always. Yeah. Doesn't matter. It's coming.
So that's our last F for Facebook killers murder.
It's been a lot. It's been really intense because I'm on Facebook all the time. And I'm like, who's trying to kill me?
Oh my goodness. But now you don't have to think that anymore because we are going to move on to another letter G, next week.
The 7th letter.
Let's do it.
Sounds good.
So before we get out of here, let's say thank you to our new Patreon people, Molly, Shanice, Carrie, and Courtney.
Thank you, everyone.
So thanks, you guys. We appreciate you joining our Patreon. And if you're not on there, you can definitely sign up and get access to our bonus episodes and some little merch items. And yeah. And also, just again, I wanted to say thank you to some of the people that have been tagging us in Facebook and Instagram and reposting when you listen to the new episode and recommending us. I also see people posting in groups and being like, hey, check out this new show. So, man, we really appreciate that. I just wanted to say thank you because I don't think I say thank you enough about that stuff. We see you.
We appreciate it. We love all the encouragement. Everyone, you're just so sweet. We really appreciate it because we put our heart and soul into this.
I don't think that we've said recently that, yeah, definitely if you like the show, leave a 5-star review.
Please do.
Yeah, I always forget to talk about reviews, but it does help. It does help people find us as far as new listeners and searches, and it does just feel good. So if you guys have been enjoying the show, then definitely leave us a review, and we just thank you in advance for that.
Thanks,
Cool.
everybody.
So with that said, we're going to be on a new letter next week. So you guys have a great week, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Hey everyone, it's Jen,
And this is Lindsay.
and we're the hosts of Corpus Delicti.
If true crime is your thing, it's ours too. And we do it with a dash of lightheartedness and a hint of Southern charm.
We cover both well and lesser known cases, and have also started a series where we spend weeks at a time covering cases from certain topics.
Ever wondered why there are so many cruise ship deaths and disappearances? How about how crime has affected history? What about lesser known serial killers? Corpus Delicti has you covered.
Episodes are released every Tuesday and can be found on your favorite podcatcher.
That's CorpusDelicti. Hope you'll join us soon.
Good call on McDonald's for lunch.
Yeah, let's eat.
Okay, we have the oh yeah for me.
Can you hand me my
Yep, and here are a couple of woot-woots to share.
I love my woohoo!
Oh, sounds like Stacy went to McDonald's too.
For a limited time, grab a hot and spicy McChicken and small fries for just $3 at McDonald's. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with combo meal.
And now, a thought from Geico Motorcycle.
It took 15 minutes to take a spirit animal quiz online.
Please be the cheetah. Please be the cheetah.
And learn your animal isn't the cheetah, but the far less appealing blobfish.
Oh, come on.
To add insult to injury, you could have used those 15 blobfish minutes to switch your motorcycle insurance to Geico.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on motorcycle insurance.